everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today for my podcast, Live Healthy Naturally. So, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe so that you can actually know when a new episode comes out, because this is all about inspiring you and giving you hope about your health, or maybe somebody in your family that needs hope. So that's what this is for. So subscribe to our podcast. We are available on Google, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and pretty much all of the major platforms. So today I am excited to welcome somebody that's actually my high school friend's mom. So it's kind of interesting because when I was growing up, we kind of have hung out a little bit, but we weren't really that close of a friend in high school. But it so happened that she ended up here in Allen and I in Frisco. And that's just how, we actually got to meet again and kind of, build that relationship back. So I've met her mom a couple times, maybe when I was a high schooler, but I really didn't know her. But I've had the pleasure and the honor of getting to know her now. And I am inspired by her strength. She's one of those people who actually make me feel fulfilled with what I do, because I've had the honor of taking care of her. So this is the story of her, and I'm going to introduce you to her. Her name is Padma, and I want to welcome you. And thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that. So do you want to actually share something about yourself to our audience?
Hello, I am Padmavati. I am 69 years old. I am coming from India. Here I am living for more than 8 years.
Wow. I didn't even know that. Okay.
We came here in 2014, December.
Okay.
So hardly 8 years completed.
Right.
Then my daughter is working here, and my son-in-law is working here.
So you've been living here with them.
Yeah.
Okay,
I am
awesome.
living with them.
Okay. And do you like living here?
Yeah.
Okay. That's wonderful. So were you, as a child, used to actually doing things like, naturally, like your mom had all kinds of remedies, home remedies that she raised you with? Like, how were you raised as a child?
Yeah. If you frequently having cold or cough, my mom will give pepper kashayam.
Black pepper?
Yeah, black pepper.
And black pepper, make it into like a tea.
Yeah, and add some milk. If you want, we can put some sugar or something. And then we will drink that.
Oh, wow.
Or without sugar also, we can drink that.
Okay.
It will give so much
relief for cough and cold.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
That is only one remedy for cold and cough.
Okay. And do you still practice it?
Still also I am
using that. Okay. That's wonderful. So were you raised, would you say naturally, or were you raised with a lot of medications growing up for any kind of illnesses?
I like natural medicines only.
But is that how it was as you were growing up and as you got older? Were you still, mostly taking natural remedies, but then, for certain kinds of things you thought that there was only choice was conventional medicine?
Oh, both are good.
But
natural medicine, no, harmless.
Yeah.
That's why I like very much natural medicine.
That's awesome. And then what happened? So over the period of years, how has your health been?
For my 69 years, I am having something.
Okay, so what are the health conditions you've had, and what kinds of treatment have you had, as an adult?
I have appendicitis.
You had appendicitis? Okay.
Appendicitis. And I had operated for that. And then
they removed your appendix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then uterus removal operation.
Because you had fibroids?
Yeah.
You had fibroid uterus. Okay.
Then
and at what age did you get your fibroids removed?
This one,
carpal tunnel.
Yeah. Tunnels.
And at what age did you have your your uterus removed?
35.
When you were 35 years old? Wow. 36. Okay. Because you didn't really think there was any other way to treat it.
Yeah.
So they told you that you will have to actually get your uterus removed. So you removed it.
Doctor said it will become cancer in due course. So you better remove that uterus and you will be free. That's why I have no choice for that at that time. Because my daughter also very
young.
11 years.
Yeah.
11 years.
Yeah.
So I was so afraid at that time.
Right.
So I operated that. They removed my uterus.
Right. Yes. And that's pretty common because, the first choice of treatment is removing organs in conventional medicine. Yet we actually have had so many patients who have been able to heal their fibroids or their appendix. And most times, appendicitis I've actually seen in people who actually don't have a good gut flora. So maybe they have actually taken antibiotics in the past, or they have not really cleaned up their gut from time to time, and that actually contributes to the flora being in imbalance. And this imbalance contributes to appendicitis when they actually, maybe come across a pathogen. Maybe they go, to another country, maybe they eat something, drink something, and I've seen it so many times when the patient comes back, they have appendicitis. And the first choice is to actually get your appendix removed. But there are so many stories where that is not true. That is not necessary. Your body can actually heal. It's just an infection, just like a strep throat or just like an ear infection. It's just itis. Any itis is inflammation. And the same way with fibroid uterus. Here, I actually want to mention something because, back in that era as well, a lot of women didn't necessarily have that, right to speak their mind. They kind of lived in an era where, you just listen to your parents and then you listen to your husband, and your life was just based on those kinds of things. And there is actually a book that I want my audience to pick up and read if you're someone who has any kind of reproductive issues, and try to understand that there is so much more to this than just, something that's actually grown in your uterus or in your ovaries. And my cat actually wanted to say hello to you, and he had something to share as well there. So that's what you were hearing. The book is named Women's Body, Women's Wisdom. It was written by an MD. She was an OBGYN. Her name is Dr. Christian Northrup. And it's actually a phenomenal book because most OBGYNs don't ever actually look at it in those kinds of ways at all. And she was awake. She was willing to see, okay, if there are so many patients that come to me with these kinds of conditions, there must be something underlying that is not just that it just comes up for no reason, because our body never does anything without a reason. There's always a reason for why it does it. And so that's how she actually started researching about it and wrote that book. So pick up a copy of that book if you or a loved one of yours is suffering from that. And it can be extremely eye-opening to learn that, because then we can actually heal from within, because so many physical conditions in our body are not just physical. They come from the physical plane, they come from the emotional plane, they come from the spiritual plane, they also come from the psychological plane. So we need to understand where it's coming from rather than just removing organs left, right, and center, because obviously there is an energy flow within us. This energy is what actually makes our organs function optimally even. And when we remove organs like that callously, what we are essentially doing is we are cutting out that energy supply through those organs, and we will actually create deficiency to the organs that actually flow through the uterus and ovaries onto the other organs, causing other problems. And this is also the reason why people always think that, okay, I've heard so many patients tell me that after a uterus removal, I was never the same. After a tubectomy, I was never the same. I gained a lot of weight after my uterus removal. I can't really lose weight since then. They actually said things like, I have emotional issues after that was removed. And unfortunately, because we are so used to dividing everything and seeing it, we think, oh no, that's not connected to anything. But we are one body. And this is the biggest takeaway I want you to actually have from this, is that everything is always connected and everything is communicating with each other, whether we like it or not. And everything we do has an effect, a consequence in our entire body. So before we actually do anything that's that permanent, we need to actually get a second opinion, a third opinion. Maybe there is someone out there that can actually help you heal rather than just remove an organ, because whatever caused it is still there, which means it'll actually show up in another organ and in another organ and in another organ until you look at it and heal it. And this is just how the body works. I've even actually had a patient at one point in time who had ovarian cancer, and they removed her ovaries and they did chemotherapy for her, radiation for her, and her ovarian cancer came back without the ovaries. And they actually did the same thing. At this point in time, they removed the cancerous tissues and they actually did radiation and chemotherapy. It came back again. And she was having pelvic bleeding and pelvic discomfort and pain. It is horrendous. And all of that started out after a terrible divorce where she lost custody of her children. So there is something deeper, and that is what I want you to understand through all of this. So because of that, did you actually have any kind of, weight gain or anything like that after you did?
Yeah.
Okay. But you didn't really connect the two.
Yeah.
Correct. So you just thought, okay, you're just gaining weight now.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happened? So after that, you also had carpal tunnel surgery, you said.
Yeah.
Any other surgeries you've ever had?
And then knee replacement.
Okay. Both?
No,
Both knees? Just
right
one?
knee,
okay.
knee.
Okay.
And then when I was 2 to 3 years, I have this mark here.
Was it a cyst?
No, I put my leg in the cycle.
Oh, okay. The spokes of the wheels. Yeah. Okay, and then it actually affected it. Okay.
Yeah, first surgeries.
Okay, wow. Okay.
And then after this,
all these other surgeries. But were you on did you have any kind of chronic disease where you had to take medications for anything over a period of time?
No.
How about after the surgeries? Like after you had the uterus removal, did you get diagnosed with any kind of diseases we think of as just happens when we get older, like diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, those kinds of things?
No, when my husband passed away, at that time only I got high blood pressure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so you got on a high blood pressure medication.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, medication.
Okay.
And then pre-medication diabetic.
Pre-diabetes. Okay. And that was together at the same time with your hypertension?
No.
Okay. It was later?
Yeah, later on.
Okay. And then you were on medication for that as well?
Yeah.
Did anybody tell you need to maybe change your diet or manage your stress or, do certain kinds of maybe meditation or anything like that?
No,
Nothing. Even though you had lost your husband and that was affecting you internally. And I kind of recall that
at that time I got I was taking Ecospirin.
Ecospirin. Okay.
Why? Because my ECG was...
it's like aspirin.
Yeah. Aspirin.
Okay. And it was at the same time when your husband passed away.
Yeah.
Okay. So nobody ever said that, well, you have actually had a big loss.
ECG. Doctor said, your ECG is not normal.
Okay.
You have attacked one mild attack.
Okay.
So you have to take Ecospirin for lifelong.
Okay.
So I was taking Ecospirin over the periods
of time. Okay, so you were taking the aspirin for all that time. Okay. And then you also were on high blood pressure medicine and then diabetes medicine.
Diabetes medicine is 2000 later.
Yes, but eventually you were actually on it as well. But during any of these times, did you actually try to change your diet or lifestyle or manage stress or anything?
Nobody tells that also.
Okay.
I also do not know what to do.
Okay. So since you were on it for that long and then you actually came here and you were still on those medications.
Yeah.
Right? So what actually made you think that maybe there is another way and I don't need to be on these medications? Is that something that came from you or is that something that came from your daughter? What happened?
From my daughter.
Okay. And then, but you obviously, trusted the whole process to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now, are you on any of those medications? Are you on aspirin or blood pressure medicine?
Nothing.
You're not on anything right now.
Now I am not taking any allopathy.
Perfect. Okay. So how is your blood pressure now?
Quite normal.
It's normal. And how was your blood sugar the last time you checked?
Normal.
Okay. So you're not on any medication, but all of those are normal now.
Yeah.
And did you also...
Medication means I am not taking any...
Right. Conventional medicines.
Yeah.
Yes. You're taking some herbs and things like that, but you're not taking any conventional medicines. So did you at any point in time think that these things are possible by natural medicine even until it happened, or you didn't even think that this has happened already, I'm older, I have to just deal with this for the rest of my life?
I am very much satisfied with the natural medicine.
Right. No, but I'm asking before that, did you even think that there was a possibility? So it was not even known
about this.
Correct. So this is something that I also want to mention here, because most people, it's not like they actually want to take these medications. Most people take medications because even when they actually know that, okay, there are side effects to this and, there are problems with this that comes, they take it because they don't have a choice. And that is also the reason why I do this podcast, because I want you to know that even at the age of 69, you can actually heal from things. And that means that it's not age. It's not, oh, I am 50, I have to do this. Oh, I'm 60, I have to do this. Oh, I'm 70, I have to do this. None of that is true. Everything is possible because as long as we're alive, our body wants to heal. So what did you do? So when you actually came to me, what were the things that you had to do to be able to get off your medications?
For my obesity, my doctor advised to take vegetable diet.
For how many days?
Yeah. My doctor, Soumya.
Which is me. Yeah.
Yeah. I was taking 3 times of a day
Vegetables.
For over 5 to 6 months.
5 to 6 months.
Initially, it was very difficult for me
Yes.
to take that.
Yes.
Over the days,
it got better. But how did you overcome that difficulty? Because usually for anybody that I actually say you need to change your diet, they usually feel very scared because they feel like, oh my God, she's asking me to do something that I'm very attached to. I've been doing this for so many years this way, and now she's asking me to do something differently, right? And I'm sure there are other practitioners who do this as well, and people actually get scared. So what gave you the strength and the courage to go through that period when it was difficult and keep going?
First, I want to reduce my health because I had knee pains very much and swelling in the both knees.
And ankles too, right?
Yeah, ankles.
Yes.
Ankles, which was not standing for me for a long time. And then I cannot walk
long distance.
Long distance. Well, that I am saying, what can I do? What can I do? That time my daughter was just to say, you come and meet Soumya. If you want to continue her advice, you take that. So I met with her and she said, go for the vegetable diet. But initially I was afraid.
Right.
Afraid to take.
Right. Yeah. What was the fear for you? What were you afraid of?
Over the years, we are taking rice.
Right.
And side dishes.
Right.
And coffee.
Right.
Soumya advised not to take coffee. Stop coffee. Stop milk. Stop buttermilk. And curd. Everything. She said to stop.
Yes.
That's why I was afraid initially. But apart from that, I want to reduce my health. I want to be fit. Because when I go to India, I myself only go. Nobody will accompany me. That was my daughter also very much worried to send me alone. These things are put in my mind. And
so you went past that challenging times to be able to stay on that diet so that you could actually do it. And that is actually, and I've said this to you before, it's very inspiring because so many people actually give up very quickly. But, and she had to do this for, I think, 4 to 5 months, if I, recall it right. And how much weight did you lose during that time?
See, for my sake, my daughter also
did it.
Did it.
Yeah. And that's wonderful always, I mean, whenever I treat children, I often tell the parents that if the child has to actually do something, it'll be better for you to get it out of your house. There are certain kinds of foods because it's hard when you have to do anything alone, especially for kids, it's hard. Adult itself, it's hard. But kids, you can completely understand. So that's wonderful that you had such a supportive daughter, loving daughter who said, okay, I'm going to do this with you so that you will feel supported and you can do this. Yeah, that's wonderful. I love that you actually have that. Not everybody has it. So that's wonderful and we have to celebrate that. And I also remember, if I kind of recall it right, is that when we actually did a blood work for you, we also kind of checked. You never said that you had any thyroid issues at that point in time. Right. So, but I did do some kind of, comprehensive blood work for you and we found that your thyroid was not working optimally. And then we put you on certain kinds of things for your thyroid as well. And how much weight did you lose during the time?
At the time, 85, I think.
So you lost 42 pounds, but you have gained a little bit of the weight back, like 6 to 7 pounds, because you have not been active, because after the COVID. But you also, had to, you kind of went off of your blood pressure medication and you also went off of your diabetes medication as well as your aspirin, right? And so the reason why we could actually accomplish that is something that I really want everyone to listen to this very carefully. I don't want you to actually go do this yourself because obviously if you don't know what you're doing, then you can actually put yourself at risk. So obviously for her, we actually monitored her blood work, made sure that she was actually healthy in this whole process when we were actually doing all of that, monitoring her blood pressure, monitoring her sugar. And another thing is that her diet became so anti-clotting, if you will, because aspirin is for clotting. It'll actually clot, so it'll prevent it from clotting, it'll keep the blood thin. It's a blood thinner. And so since she didn't really have anything that'll clot her blood, she really didn't have a need for it anymore. And that's what is so important to understand as well. So it's not something that you can actually do just because you don't really want to be on medications. You actually have to be careful about how you wean off of it. And you are also under the care of a professional who can help you do this. And that's something that I want to make sure you understand and, not just do anything the way you want to do in case it actually causes some kinds of problems for you. So after that, were you actually able to add some of the foods back into your diet?
Yeah.
Yes. So even though you added, many of those foods back, you only gained 6 to 7 pounds. And that too, it's because of the lack of activity as much. Not really because, okay, now that, another thing people actually are afraid of, right? Okay, if I go off of these things, I'm gone off this forever. Like I can never ever eat any of these things again. I have to be on a vegetable diet for the rest of our life. And that's not true. But the good news is that a lot of times the body actually holds on to the extra weight when the adrenals are not functioning optimally. And in her case, the adrenals were not functioning optimally, which was one of the biggest reasons why her blood pressure went up. And then, whenever that happens, it also actually regulates glucose metabolism. And then, her blood sugar started going up and she was diagnosed with pre-diabetes. So instead of actually trying to tackle that, help her and tell her to do things like, okay, meditation, exercise, eating better, and actually, doing things that are good for her adrenals, as well as to put her body in the parasympathetic mode, just putting her on medications didn't really help in any ways because she still continued having knee pain, ankle pain, swelling, and the quality of life obviously becomes poor despite the blood work being normal or the blood pressure being normal. How many of us want perfect blood work but not really have a good quality of life? That doesn't make any sense. So do you have any ankle pain and knee pain now on walking?
Yeah, some days.
Some days. But you're able to go for a walk now on a regular basis?
Yeah.
And you do walk now?
Yeah.
How long do you walk usually?
For about an hour.
For an hour? Wow.
45 minutes? Sure.
Perfect. That's wonderful. I mean, isn't she inspiring?
I can walk slowly only.
And that's okay. The thing is that you have that in you to actually take care of yourself. Even it doesn't mean that you have to run a marathon. It just means that you have to move and you're moving. And you're moving for an hour. So many people actually say that once they actually have pain like that, they have to have surgery. And that's the only choice. Otherwise, they cannot actually get better. But this is something that is not true.
When I'm not walking, I will get pain in the night at the time. Night time.
So you actually have restlessness.
Quickly.
So she has restlessness in her legs if she actually doesn't sleep well. I mean, if she doesn't exercise enough. So one of the things for RLS or restless leg syndrome is Rustox. So that's a homeopathic remedy that I actually want to give to the listeners. So people who actually don't know about it, they can actually take that. And also lack of magnesium will do that. And you're on magnesium, right? I have you on magnesium?
No.
I used to have you on magnesium?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, then we need to do something about it. So lack of magnesium will actually do it as well. But you do drink a lot of smoothies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So greens are a very good source of magnesium. So many a times, if you actually have enough magnesium in your body, you won't do it. But you will also deplete magnesium if your body is under stress. So even if you're consuming it from your food, you may have to, supplement it if, your body is also depleting magnesium at the same time. And so now, what's your diet like? What do you eat now?
Morning, I will take a smoothie with greens and chia seeds and some fruits. And then I will take lunch at 2 o'clock.
And what is your lunch usually?
Lunch, small quantity of millets. And then vegetables.
Lots of vegetables.
Lot of vegetables.
Yes.
And millet is very small quantity.
Do you eat any lentils or beans?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then evening I'll take fruits. Orange, mango, and banana, pineapple.
And despite the fact that you were diabetic before, you can still eat all the fruits. You're eating all the fruits, right?
Now I am eating all the fruits.
Now back then you weren't, but I'm saying now, despite the fact that they said, okay, this is another thing that I want to mention about here, because a lot of people...
I'm not taking all the fruits in a day.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm saying that a lot of diabetic people, they are told by their doctors not to eat any fruits. And so I'm trying to, make this clear for our audience to know that that's not true, because now she's actually eating fruits and that doesn't necessarily raise her blood, sugar. Why? Because she was insulin resistant before. at that point in time, any sugar that she consumes, even in the form of, fruits, can actually cause problems. But once you actually remove insulin resistance and cause insulin sensitivity of the cells, then the cells can actually take up the sugar and the blood sugar will not go up. So that's what
then I'll every week Tuesday I'm fruit fasting.
Okay, so you eat just fruits.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Morning smoothie. Then I'll take fruits over the day, and the night I will take some carbs.
What is carbs? What kind of foods that you eat?
Millet idli.
Or that's a steamed,
steamed,
millets.
Steamed. That's all.
Okay, awesome. And so, and is this really difficult now for you to follow this diet now?
No. I'm very easy.
Yeah. So, actually, she asked me before we started this podcast that, she had COVID recently. And after the COVID, she actually has this kind of cough, or, her throat has, the voice has changed a little bit. So she was actually telling me about how she has this persistent cough after COVID. And I know so many people actually deal with this. So I kind of wanted to give a natural remedy for that to our listeners. So this is actually something that you can make at home with, ingredients that you have easily available to you. What it requires is cinnamon powder, cloves, lemon, and raw local honey and water. So what we will do is, you boil 1.5 cups of water, and then you add, the cloves, and then in the lemon, you have to cut it into 2. And then on one side, you'll actually put the cloves, stick it into the lemon, and then you actually put it in that water that's, the boiling water, into it in the mug. And then you also squeeze a large portion of it into the water and add a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon powder and a teaspoon of honey. And now that the water has boiled, just add another 1.5 cups to your mug and stir everything. And, make sure that the lemon has the cloves face down so they're submerged in the water. Let it steep for 10 minutes, then remove the lemon with cloves from your mug and then drink it warm. Okay, we'll also have this under our description, the recipe for it. So if you didn't catch that, don't worry about it. But this is really, really good. You can drink this every day. It'll actually soothe your throat. It'll actually help you with your cough. It's very good for the immune system. And you can do this even for any kind of cold and cough that you have. It'll really help, especially the night cough. So many children have night cough, and it tastes good. So they wouldn't really cause, too much of heartache for you to give it to them. And you can give it to them at night, and it'll actually help soothe their throat and go to sleep better. So that's something that I wanted to tell you. And one of the other things that I want to talk to you about is how, the swelling that we actually found in your ankles and all of that had not really anything to do with just your ankles, but it had to do with your lymphatic system not functioning optimally, right? So we had to really work on your lymphatic system. And that's one of the reasons why I also asked you to walk. Because walking or any kind of exercise is a good way to move the lymphatic system. And if we don't really move the lymphatic system, things actually go and sit there. And when they sit there, they will actually cause problems in different tissues. And that's what was happening to her. And also another thing that you had was, the skin rashes, right? And the skin rashes, then we found that it was actually a lot of fungus. And then we have been doing cleanses for that, correct? So, and many of these cleanses are to do with, she's obviously not really consuming sugar. So fruits are not really as much of a problem. She's consuming fruits, but sugar in the form of anything that's like, added sugar is a big problem for candida or fungus. And so that's something that she has to be off of. And that's the reason why you didn't hear her say anything that she has that has sugar in her food, because she's not supposed to have it. And so we are cleansing her gut for the fungus. And when we do that, the skin clears up, right? Yeah. So anytime somebody actually tells you they have a skin condition, tell them to cleanse their gut. It has nothing to do with their skin. And do you put any kind of cream on it? Like, do I give you any ointment for your skin? No, because that's not necessary. And that is the reason why I kind of want to bring this to your notice as well. So all these little things and big things that we have, we kind of have a very poor understanding of them. And when we don't understand why they happen, we obviously treat them wrongly. And when we treat them wrongly, we will not actually get the results we want. And what we actually experience is frustration. So I really thank you for coming and sharing your story. I know that it's not your first language, English, but you did fantastic. Okay. I love how clear you were. You were able to actually convey your story to our listeners. So I really appreciate you coming and doing this, and imparting hope to so many people that are listening to this, because I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we can give, right? Hope to other people. And so thank you for coming. I really appreciate that. And thank you everyone for listening in today. I know you have places to be and things to do, but I really appreciate you spending this time with me. So if you love this podcast, share it with your friends and family, and show us some love. And I'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much.